And we are live. So, a warm welcome. Greetings to each and everyone. Thank you so much for looking forward in our Let Us Talk It Zipiners every Wednesday. So, as mentioned in the past webinar, we have invited you to join us again in this new Wednesday. We have two new topics and brought you two new guest speakers to share with us their personal insights, their knowledge, and also sharing their time and effort to us. So, before I start, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Phil, and I am the host of this Zipinar today. And we call it Zipinar, not webinar, because we try to zip in two topics in one session, just like a zipper, if you can idealize that. So, we try to minimize the time consumed as time is important to each working individual, but we try to maximize the information that you get for this one session. And this webinar is brought to you by Cogent Integrated Business Solutions. So they're an IT company based in Detroit, Michigan. And for any IT needs or consultations, just visit the website www.cogentibs.com. All right. So, for the first topic that we have today, since we are very looking forward for this, and no, there's been abrupt changes in the set of speakers, which was really short of a time, but we do really admire this guest speakers that we have today for their great hearts in terms of sharing knowledge, sharing the idea of knowledge should be free, and we should be able to share it to the world. And we have here your path to business freedom. So let me just get a little details. And well, if you are an entrepreneur, you already know that like building a profitable business is your ticket to financial independence. Like unfortunately, most entrepreneurs fail to run their businesses that give the financial and time freedom they are looking for. So we have here our guest speaker, which is a CEO from Freedom Sun, and also a CPA, and she is dedicated to helping business owners reclaim their time and freedom holistically. With nearly 2 decades of experience in international business advising, and also has impacted thousands of entrepreneurs through her training, coaching, and podcasts. And she has consulted for Fortune 500 companies like Prince Waterhouse Coopers, Nike, and Fox Century 21 Studios, Fox Century 21 Studios, as well as advised celebrities, government officials, and global leaders. And we present to you our guest speaker for today, Simone Radzins. Please take over.
All right. Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for being here. I am excited to talk about this with you all. And if you can leave it in the comments, if you are an entrepreneur, if you have been an established business owner, if you have been or if you're just thinking about starting a business, like this presentation will help. And I would love to know who you are. And also, as I'm talking, I have no slides. This is just a conversation of the things that I've learned from my close to like 2 decades of being in the business world. One important thing, what we're talking about is business freedom. Most of the time we hear about financial freedom. But when you look at the statistics on small businesses and an entrepreneur, like if you're a solopreneur, just like a small business owner, a lot of small business owners are spending a lot of time in their business, feeling burnt out, not getting the financial returns they would expect. And seeing that cash flow is, something that they're always battling with. And with that stress comes burnout, comes stuff with your mindset, comes a lack of time, not being able to enjoy life, or really feeling kind of tied to your business. And so when I like to think about this holistic approach to business and to thinking about business freedom, it's really looking and defining first what holistic wealth is. Right. So oftentimes as a CPA, I mean, I've been taught this. I only work with clients with this with this idea of like, what matters is your cash flow, which it does. What matters is what's in your wallet, what's in your retirement. All of those numbers are very, very important. But holistic wealth is very different. Holistic wealth also looks at the experiences that you can have in life, right? So if we look at the wealth like, as an acronym, wealth is what's in your wallet, the experiences that you have, the attitude that you approach situations, the mindset, your well-being, the location that you're living in. I'm an American. I can live in Portugal and still have my business because of the systems that I've built. The time that you have, right? So not being, stuck working 80 hours a week on your business or in your business really, and the health, right? So your mental health, which is so important, and your physical health, right? Because if any of those in the equation of wealth are not working well, you're going to be out of balance, right? And so as we kind of dive into what business freedom is, I just want you to think about that for yourself. Does that align with your version of how you've identified wealth? And if it does, amazing. And if it doesn't, what I'm so curious, leave it in the comments. But when I started to shift this approach, everything in my life started to shift. I'm not going to talk too much about mindset, but it's just a very important thing is for you to define success of what you want in your life. Part of that is obviously money, and that as a business owner, your definition of an entrepreneur is to generate a profit, but it's to do it in a way that gives you still back time and still gives you like health, right? Health is so important, and we see so much burnout in entrepreneurship. So as we kind of get into that, so business freedom is putting yourself, there's an amazing book. It's called, well, there's a few, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's the Rich Dad, Poor Dad series. And this one particularly is the cash flow quadrant. And so when we think about being in a level of true wealth, we get out of what a lot of business owners are still in, which is self-employment. Self-employment is a different step. You're not an employee anymore. You're self-employed, but unfortunately, you don't have any assets in your business. You're running, back and forth. You're not feeling super, super happy about your business because your business is driving you and you're not driving your business. And so the goal to build more wealth from the wallet side is to get into the idea of business owner. So that's what we're going to talk about, a business freedom and business owner. And at one point, get into the investor seat. We're not talking about the I quadrant. We're just going to talk about the business owner quadrant. So when we think about business ownership and business freedom, I want you to write down this equation. And we're going to start talking a little bit about the numbers. So your path to business freedom is this equation: build, manage, and grow, right? So build, manage, and grow. You can also use this equation for your personal finances, which is fantastic as well. And so build is related to all of the income that you will build in your business, right? Because that income, right? So the income, the revenue is going to be the driver for what you're going to be able to pay yourself, your profit, your EBITDA, like all of those numbers below, right? So it's the biggest driver of you being able to build a profitable business, but it's also, if you're building a profitable business and you're, a very small team and you're a majority stakeholder, shareholder of your business, that business profit generally will translate to more wealth personally for you. So building business income is strategic. When you think about what you're selling, right? So if you're a product-based business or if you're a service-based business, what you're selling to your clients, price times quantity is the easiest equation to thinking about revenue, right? So if I sell, let's pretend I am in a service-based industry. If I sell, something for 10,000 to a client, right? So to get 100,000, that's just 10 clients. So this is what I just want you to start thinking about. We're going to go dive in deeper into that. Why this is important is that when you build strategic income, you look at many different factors in your business to help you generate recurring revenue that is going to be predictable revenue. So now write these kind of few things down, right? So pricing is very important with strategic income. How you price your product, how you price your service isn't just about looking at what it was the cost to deliver. It's about looking at the value that you are providing your clients. The moment you can switch this, right, from more of a accountant based looking at like, okay, I'm pricing based off of the cost, I'm going to add a little bit of margin, to what is the value that is provided to this client, right? And so we're getting into marketing a little bit to this client and their perceived value of it. How is it helping them? That's really going to shift how you can build strategic income, because you're all of a sudden now putting value with price instead of the specific numbers to price. Looking at your relationship with your customers and with your clients and understanding the annual value of a client, meaning if let's say you sell accounting services and you are a bookkeeper and you are providing monthly bookkeeping services, right? And you've decided to price to value. So maybe the lowest package is about 500 USD a month. Okay, so if I know that, and this is so funny, I'm going to need to have my calculator. I think I got it. So if I know that somebody is going to come once a month to this service, and I can then predict the annual value of that client, right? So 500 times 12, which is 6,000, right? And then I can predict the lifetime value of that client, which would be however long clients typically work with you. Understanding these hacks is really important because it allows you to look at your income, your revenue in a different way. Most of the time, business owners aren't thinking about this. They're just thinking about, oh, I'm going to get one client, I'm going to try to just do this one service, and not thinking about what the relationship could be, trying to solve the other problems that are in the ecosystem for the business. And if they are thinking about the different problems that they are solving, one thing that a lot of business owners aren't doing is the reminder and putting clients on recurring revenue, right? So recurring revenue, anything that could be kind of automated or recurring revenue, are really important factors to building strategic income. So the pricing is really important, how you look at your clients, right? So the annual value of a client, the lifetime value of a client, and then just building your offer suite around that. And that is for a product-based business, that is for a service-based business, right? So building strategic income is the first component of it. When we think about the digital age, when we think about how do you get clients, how do people come into your sphere, well, a lot of it is related to your website. So when we think about how people come into your sales funnel, that is very important about thinking about strategic income. So making sure that when people come to your website, if that's how you're selling, that they're getting put into your sales funnel so it can help you automate that sales process, saving you time and helping you really pull some of the important levers to building income. So that's your build. The manage is related to managing your costs. Now, as an accountant, as a CPA, this is something that actually is very interesting I'm going to flip the switch a little bit on what you might traditionally think, right? So when we think about numbers, we think about a budget. Budgets are amazing. However, most business owners don't really follow budgets, and most accountants make budgets, but it's very hard unless you're really in a corporate world and there's somebody working directly in budgeting, looking at budget to forecast actuals, which doesn't happen often in small businesses. Most people aren't looking at the actual results against the budget. Now, accounting tools have made this much easier, like some of the very popular ones have been able to make this much easier. But a good way to think about managing cost is reversing the equation to profit. And this idea is not my idea. It is from Mike Michalowicz, and it is called Profit First. And there's a whole slew of these profit first professionals. And the idea is about allocations to manage your money. So what does that mean? So allocations are a percentage that you would apply. So imagine you get, let's just use the example of 10,000 in revenue. You have set percentages to allocate to your cost buckets, right? So to pay yourself as an owner, to put into profit, to make sure that you're saving for taxes, and to put into operating expenses, right? So there's different percentages depending on the size of your business, depending on, if you're selling inventory or if you're not selling inventory, that you would use. But being able to flip the script on how you actually manage your cash flow and be more proactive with actually looking at it in buckets is such an incredible way that will generate you more cash flow and more profit. Because when you just think about it, and you can use this complementary with budgeting, and when you do that, it allows you to be proactive with where the cash is going. So a very counterintuitive of what you might traditionally hear. So that is manage. Additionally, with manage is making sure that banking and is working for you, right? So when we think about managing cash flow and maximizing cash flow, making sure that we're banking with banks that are actually giving us a return for our money. A lot of the neo banks that are available really worldwide, I think Wise is one of the biggest ones, is that if you have business accounts, depending on where that money is held, because of inflation and because interest rates went up so high, so you can get a really a nice, that percentage is changing now in 2024, a nice percentage on your money compared to those traditional banks where you might get 0.1% interest, right? So you want to make sure that in the terms of you're putting your money somewhere, you're putting your, your actual cash somewhere, that it's getting a return and that it's getting a smart return. But in addition to that, what I love about neobanks is that they are focused on the user experience to allow you to manage your money really well, right? So with a Wise or with a Revolut, and I have a freebie for everybody at the end of this, you are able to put money into vaults. You're able to do the cash flow very quickly. You're able to upload receipts, right? So it's very nice to allow you to manage your business well, right? So manage your cash flow. And then the last one is related to grow. And this is growing through systems, right? Because at the end of the day, if we just go back and we think about, okay, well, what is business freedom? Business freedom for me is being able to have time to not work, set schedule, to work a certain amount of hours that's aligned with my life, and to be able to still generate the profit and the cash flow that will allow me to get to my definition of holistic wealth and a peaceful retirement, right? So that's how I think about that. And the only way that I can do that is to have systems and a team that understands those systems in my business. And what does that mean, right? Because you hear about that. And so what does that mean? So for every process of your business, right, I'm just going to break them down from revenue and receivables, so how you make money and how you get paid, the whole invoicing process, to expenses, vendor management, to employee relations, to sales, to marketing, to HR, to risk management. All of those are different processes, depending on the size of your business, depending on the industry of your business, depending on where you are in business. You might not have all of those, or there's some of them are very, very small, especially if you're a micro business. But the point is that you want to have standard procedures in each of those processes, and you want to be able to leverage automations and technologies in each of those. So for example, the ones that I'm most familiar with in my kind of quest for business freedom is related to your profit systems, right? So the accounting systems, the cash management systems, the payment systems, like all of that, and the sales and the marketing. So websites and building like a sales funnel through the website, building email marketing campaigns to follow up with clients, and to build also automations to onboard those clients into my ecosystem or into the business ecosystem is very, very important to me. And so when you think about, okay, that grow part, well, if you're a startup, it's nice to think about that, but your whole goal is going to be different. You just want to get customers, right? And so as you understand your customer process, you then would kind of build out each of those systems, right? You don't need to build systems out from day one. You want to get traction first, prove out your idea. But after you hit your stride, after you have really identified a process or identified where you're spending a lot of time, that is then the opportunity to start getting into that grow, right? It's an equation: build, manage, grow. You have to build first, then you have to have you actually do have to have the system to manage, right? And then to grow, right? To grow and scale your business, to grow your wealth, you also want to have those systems. So fairly easy way of thinking about it. So it's build, manage, grow. And within each of those, it's the specific tactics. Now, I would love questions. I think that is really all that I wanted to talk about today. when it comes to building business freedom, since it is a very small amount of time, there is one last thing, is that it's your mindset about everything. So one of the things that I started to get into last year was this whole mindset about entrepreneurship, which, I'd always listened to the personal development, the Tony Robbins, the Jim Rohn. I've listened to that my entire kind of career and always applied some things, but I started to go a lot deeper into mindset last year. Started to take courses and trainings about it, and really getting to understand myself as a person more and deeper, and as an entrepreneur more and deeper. And when you can master your mindset, so again, it's something we hear often, but what does that actually mean? For me, mastering my mindset is to identify my limiting beliefs about whatever I have going on in business, and to stop those limiting beliefs, to break those limiting beliefs, because the limiting beliefs about yourself, about your worth, about the ability, about, if you kind of have just an overall scarcity mindset, those are not going to help you with entrepreneurship. They are going to hold you back from reaching your financial goals. So that's one, is identifying those limiting beliefs. But to identify those limiting beliefs, you want to be radically honest with yourself, right? Because you have gone on a way of doing your life, doing your business, doing your expertise, your entire life. If you grew up in a culture that is American versus Portuguese, you're going to just have a different way of thinking about things, or Indian, right? And so it's being able to be radically honest with yourself and look at some of your shortcomings and put the work in. Because the moment you can start focusing and putting more energy into your mindset and into yourself as a leader, the better your business is going to feel, it's going to be, and you're going to have those financial results. So that is kind of the underlying area of that of the trio of the build, manage, grow. You have to have a strong mindset. And if you have teams, making sure that you feel confident in your own leadership, your own self-leadership, and that you're also leading, not managing, leading, and teaching those team members to be leaders as well. It's going to get you very, very far. So thank you all for listening. If you want to connect with me, I do have like multiple businesses. I think the easiest way is just to go to my personal website. You'll get into my funnel, not necessarily my business funnel, but you'll have, you can have access to some of my trainings. And then if you want, you can just actually ping me and I can send you a freebie of just this whole kind of profit system and some tools just to get started on this business freedom journey. So thank you so much. And any questions that we have before the next presenter, I'm excited to answer if there are any.
Wonderful. Thank you, Simone, for bringing
Yeah.
that knowledge into the table. Like that really took a lot of research and time. So, what inspired you to pursue this line of work or research that you've done in the business system?
I think it was just like natural. So I ended up graduating as a CPA, but it all came very easy. Like even in university, I was recruited to be in the Big Four accounting, and before I could even understand like what that was and all of that. So my entire career, I've spent consulting executives or business owners. My first part of it, I'd say the first like 8 years was all corporate, Fortune 500, where I really did learn how everything worked and got a really good idea about it. But I just didn't feel like I belonged, if that makes sense. Like I just felt like I would work fast, so I get things done. I didn't want to trade time for money. And then I wanted to do something on my own. And I ended up building a financial consulting company because I was like, what do I know how to do? I know how to do this. And I scaled it quick, but I didn't find joy in it. And so and then I moved to Europe and I was like, what? And at that point, I had some online courses. I had worked in the legal cannabis industry in the United States, which was very burgeoning, and wrote a book about, the taxes in that, and built a podcast and did all this thought leadership there. And then when I moved to Europe, nobody really cared. And it was this moment of like trying to figure out, well, what's my big why? And for me, what I would love, because we see such a gap in wealth, we see a gap in wealth for women, we see a gap in wealth for minorities, and even throughout countries, right? And I'm like, how do you democratize this? Like, how do you educate people on some of the things that aren't taught in business school that I wish that I had in my own entrepreneurial journey, or even in university. And so for me, it's really being able to give people the tools that I have learned that I've used in my business. Like the moment I had my first course, I was like, wow, I'm getting paid. And I created all this knowledge and I'm getting paid. And I was like, this is amazing, right? And so figuring out and kind of transferring to the digital world and realizing that, wow, you can productize your services in a way that's very beneficial for the people that need it was really, really big. And I just see a lot of people that have such good hearts and want to make such big changes, but don't know how to run business. And I'm like, okay, how can I create? And so one of my businesses is like, it's called Freedom Sun, and it's a business club for women, which is like just like here's some resources, here's community, because you're access to a network, the right resources, and the training is really important. It's like, how do you just create that so it's accessible for people? It's my big passion because at the end of the day, financial stress is a real stress for people. And when you have financial stress, you have physical stress and all of that, and that can impact your family and in your life and all of that. And so it's this idea of creating in something more holistic.
Wow. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that. And yeah, one of our superiors in Cogent, Sir Manmohan Pillai, is very interested and would like to have some more discussions on business development. And yeah,
Awesome.
he shared his email to
Okay.
you. So maybe that it can happen offline
Yeah.
if you wish to. So yeah, any other inputs or questions from our attendees? If you wish to do so, you can type it in or you can unmute.
Well, sometimes I feel like it just needs to settle. So that's okay. No questions is totally fine. What I'll do is I'll shoot my email. And if you're interested in getting, kind of a little slide deck that talks about this stuff, happy to give it to you. You just can send me an email and I'll give you that.
All right, perfect.
All
And
right.
yes. So also Simone is on LinkedIn as well. So you can just search her name. It's on the flyer. Definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay. Uh Also, anything upcoming, Simone, you'd like to promote? Do you have upcoming like podcasts or any
Hmm.
events?
No, I mean, right now I have, a few, no, not really. I think the Freedom Sun is going to launch, but that's much more focused for women. And I'm just thinking about this. Um, I don't think so. I have just my podcast, which is called Business Freedom, and I can put this in. So people can listen to much more of the mindset stuff. I wanted to focus. I feel like that's such a layer that people need to master. But no, nothing upcoming at the moment. Not no, which is
All
kind of
right.
exciting.
Okay. Then that settles the first topic that we have today. Well, thank you so much, Simone.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you.
really wonderful information you have shared to everyone. And yes, that's just like a part of the information you can get. If you should wish to learn more, you can get in touch with Simone, or you can shoot her an email, add her on LinkedIn, or follow her in socials, definitely. And yeah, she's very responsive, very kind-hearted. So, and yeah, that ends the topic today. The first topic for today, since there was no additional questions. I checked on live and no questions so far as of the moment. So, should you wish to contact her offline, please connect with her. All right. So, the next topic that we have today, moving forward, is testing tomorrow. So, unveiling next gen tools and frameworks. So, in this next topic, we are to explore the future of software testing, where we unveil the most promising next gen tools and frameworks, discover technologies poised to revolutionize QA, quality assurance, and engaging session filled with insights from industry, real world case studies, and sneak peek into the upcoming trends shaping the testing landscape. And to talk about this topic is Aman Ghosh, a senior quality analyst and a seasoned quality engineer as well. 7 years of experience and began his journey with CTS in 2016 and now serve as a senior quality analyst at Exavalu Solutions India Private Limited, and also involved deeply with Scobotics, and EdTech training company, where he had the privilege to train students across West Bengal in the latest tech stacks. And his expertise spans across multiple domains, including SDET, automation testing, and performance testing. And here with us, Aman Ghosh, to give us the second topic of today's webinar. Please take over.
Yeah. Hi. I hope I'm audible.
Yes.
Okay. So I'll quickly share my screen.
Okay. Yes.
So my screen is visible, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So thank you for the introduction. Thank you, Suman, for the session. It was great hearing you. And as the introduction is already done for me, I'll just move to what we are going to talk today. We have testing tomorrow. So testing is a very generic process right now in software industry. So we pretty much have testing implemented in every project that are there. So it's not a new topic that we are discussing today. It's an existing thing, and um, we have a lot of expertise available, a lot of tools available, a lot of advanced technologies available on the sector, which currently are in use, and people are going we have plenty of options to go for. So there are some common questions, common confusions that have started because when you have so many things going on in a sector, or you have so many things being developed, you have a lot of options to be choose. It's like choosing a phone right now. Like if you go to buy a new phone, you have plenty of options today in the world, right? And it becomes hard for you to choose a phone because there are plenty of features, there are new features, there are existing features, there's a quality involved, there is like the performance involved. So a lot of things are there which you need to judge before buying anything, right? So when you have so many things in a when you have so many developments going on in a sector, it's very hard to go to follow which things to follow, which thing not to follow, which to go for. So I'm here to discuss some few emerging questions which we have right now in this testing industry. It's not about the tools or the frameworks itself. It will be about what exactly is happening, and what are the big questions which right now we have in our front, and how to answer them. So uh, I'll move to the content. So I'll quickly will have I have just, as we have only half an hour to be discussed, so I have just listed down few of the things which I think are required, and I'll go with them. So it will be introduction. I still had kept my introduction here, though it is already being done. So I have 7+ years of experience and in quality assurance, and currently I'm working with Value INC, and I'm residing in Arizona, USA. So it's a journey of 7 years, which I have done entirely on the QA process. And I've seen multiple phases of, I would say, because in 7 years, I've seen testing grow like anything, like from manual to automation coming in. Then you have open source automation tools coming in. Then you have, now we have high like AI tools and much mature tools coming into the market. So a lot of things have happened in the 7 years which I've seen. So I'll just go through few of them in this session. Uh, so the first question, which is a pretty common question, and everyone is discussing a lot of time, like you will have a lot of perspective around this, that is automation versus manual testing. Um, like it's always a debate for where you will have people discussing that is automation a replacement of manual testing, or will and moreover, the AI processes coming into the market right now. You have AI everywhere, right? Implementing everywhere. So we have AI implemented in the testing world as well. So there are different technologies coming in, different frameworks coming in, different tools coming in, and they claim to be a lot of helpful and streamline your testing process, which you have for a software. So the debate is like, what will happen to the future of manual testers or manual testing, I would say. What will happen? Like, will we have manual testing going forward? Will everything will be automated, or what will happen? So no one can say the answer of future. I'm not sure what will happen in future. We might have technology that might completely replace the manual effort. But right now, the current scenario that we have, what I feel is that I can explain this with a small example. Everyone here is like, we are familiar with the cooking process, right? So if I compare this with the cooking process, just to keep it simple, um, we can treat the automation tools as a aid, or as appliances which we use for cooking, like a chopper or a blender, or different tools that we have in our kitchens, right? That expedite our working speed, or texture, or whatever we want in our. But if you want to cook something unique, or if you want to have something different on your dish, or you want to adjust the taste, if you want to create something new, or you want to add different flavors, you want to infuse food, you have you have to keep that manual effort in, where humans will be coming in and putting different aspect, and then creating the dish, right? So manual testing and automation testing is kind of like that. You have tools to expedite your process, and that should be there. That should be implemented for sure, because we cannot have something which is redundant, or which is repetitive, or which requires a lot of manual effort to be carried out, because after an like, we are burning our uh, finances on the testing process, right? So if we can have a tool implemented, if we have a aid implemented, and we uh, use it, uh, obviously it will help us to expedite the process, it will help us with the finances, it will help us in the entire process. But can it ultimately remove the manual effort? No, I don't feel that right now, whatever the status it is, it can. Because we still need the exploratory testing, or I would say when something is new, or when we want to do an entire application, or we want to do testing all over the area, I don't think manual testing can be replaced by an automation testing framework or a tool right now. So then what is the answer? The answer to this would be achieving an optimal testing balance. So when we say, um, like, this thing should be different for different projects, it can't be same. Like, anyone who has done on past will be done like this on this project. We cannot say that. We might have different projects with different scenarios, different issues, and different form of testing needs it might have. So it can be same for every project, but however, we can create a baseline with which we can decide that whether we should go for what at what particular time. Yes, automation testing, yes, always it should be there. It should be there for something which is repetitive, redundant. It should be there for, we call it regression testing, we call it smoke testing. So you have something which needs to be tested every time you give a new build, or every time you give a new release, and you want to check the entire system that is already built, that is not, if the changes are not affecting your previous builds, then that is already built and a stable system, right? So it's better to get that automated, because then the team can focus on the new changes. They don't have to worry on what they have already tested. We have that already tested. We have something to take care of that testing, and we can focus on the new things that are implemented. So obviously, for testing like those, or even if it is a new thing, if not that it's a already pre-built thing, then automation can already be done on the pre-built thing. No. Suppose there is something built new and it requires a repetitive testing to be done. Suppose you have a flow in your application that can be performed by multiple users, like profiles, I would say. Different profiles might log in and different profiles might do it. So it's the same process, but different profiles. And you need to test every profile is able to do the process. So in this case, doing it individually with all the profiles would be a redundant task for us, right? So in this case, automating the process, putting it into automation, running the automation and completing it would help us. Moreover, there are different places where there might be a tricky computation happening, which is hard for a human to test, or performance testing. Moreover, it's very hard to judge a performance testing without having an automated process involved, like without having a tool involved. Like, how can you do a performance testing on an application without having uh, a tool generating your load on the system, or having the metrics for all the situations that you have created for the application. So there are different things which I feel automation are mandate on that particular places. Now, if that is the case, where is manual testing going in? Manual testing should be going for exploratory testing, where you want user experience to be get tested, because a tool cannot experience what a user can experience, right? So how easy it is for the user to go through your application, if it is like the user is able to understand where to click, how to go, like if there are proper error messages being developed. So all those testing, exploratory testing, because automation testing would be on a set path which you have coded, right? It should go on the set path. What if you need to test something which is not in your set path, if it is different from what you regularly test? If you want to have some, because manual testing is all about breaking the system, right? You need to do testing to break the system. It's not just achieving the numbers, right? You need to have ability to detect different defects here and there. So manual testing is something which is important for something which is very new, very unstable. Exploratory testing is needed. Ad hoc testing is needed. You need to understand the user experience on your application. Then manual testing is a must. So these are some baselines which can be followed, and there should be a strategic allocation. So there should be a strategic allocation between when you are allocating that whether we will go for automation or manual testing. And if we combine these two processes, we can actually get uh, the better output as for the testing process, and we can achieve like test coverage. Achieving the test coverage on the application can be maximized having both of them in your process rather than going for any one. So this is like this is a very common question nowadays, manual and automation though. So this is pretty much known to everyone. But the major problem right now we have will be coming on the next slide. That is evaluating the testing tool and the framework. So when now we know that we have to do automation, we need to do manual testing, we need to do everything. We are understanding that. But now, how to evaluate a testing tool or a framework? How can we do it? Nowadays, you have too many testing tools available in the market. You have different solutions. You have AI enabled um, uh, tools that are there. You have no code platforms for testing. You have hybrid testing tools which can do everything, pretty much everything, like API testing. It can do UI testing. It can do performance testing. It can do pretty much everything we want. So uh, now, when you have so many options to pick from, Also, there are nowadays specific solutions to the platforms, like different platforms we have. We have the dev platforms which we are using. So we have specific solution to test them. So if we have those, we already had a lot of open source frameworks available. We have a open source technology available to test different things. Now we have tools also available. So how do we now select what to take and what to test? So the best thing would be like I'll give you a simple example to do this. Consider we have nowadays no code platforms that helps you record your scenarios and generate the scripts automatically. So you have your scripts being developed via a tool. You are recording your scenarios and it is doing the work for you. You have the scripts. You can run it as many times you want. But if you go and understand that whether you need this particular feature in your tool or not, like how can you judge this? It's a good feature, obviously, but whether it's useful to you or not. So I feel that selecting of a tool should not be on the basis of what the tool features are or what features we are having. It should be first. It should be first analyzing the need of your particular project. What are the needs for your particular project? Do you have so many changes? Suppose you have you do you have UI changes so frequently that you need a record and play feature? If you are not having so many changes in your system, if your UI is not changing, if you have a set functionality to be tested, if you have a stable build, then you are just paying for the tool, but you are just using it once when you are recording the script for the first time. After that, you have the scripts with you. You are just running it, but you are still paying the tool for the features, right? And you are dragging with the tool. So if it is not needed by the project itself, it is not a requirement for the application, then there's no use of getting these features in your tool. Right. So like this, there are multiple features on multiple tools. Now, how to judge what should we go for? The first thing we need to do is analyze our application and our project. What is the exact need of the project? So it's not, there are multiple things which we need to list. I have listed few of them, which I feel are important. So suppose uh, frequency of your changes, complexity of your system, technology stack which you are used to build your application. Budget is another important factor. Time to market, community support, and technical support. So I feel these are few important features which are very much needed before you judge whether you should go for which tool. And also we have I would say now there, when we are talking about tools, just not, let's not just consider the tools in the picture. You have different frameworks, right? So whether it's wise to invest time, budget, and resources in building a test automation asset rather than having a paid tool, whether should we should invest time, budget, and resource on building a test automation asset itself, like building it from scratch. So building it is from scratch is not a bad option. Why? I tell you, because I know it might be time consuming. You have to build it from scratch. It will take time to build up. It will take time to get stabilized, and then you will have the end results. But let's think in such a way that whenever you are going for a paid tool, it is mandate for a paid tool, like whatever experience I have working on paid tools, it is mandate that it will be confining you to their way of doing the process. They will have their set defined process, and you have to mold your processes into their way and then implement it. Okay. Moreover, there might be limits where suppose I give you one example which I have from my experience. That is, we had the testing done, and we wanted to do visual testing with the same scripts. So nowadays, we have visual UI testing, where you can test the UI changes, like button moving pixels from here and there. So those tests can analyze those pixel changes and let you know that your UI has changed. So we wanted to implement it in our existing framework, but whether the paid tool is capable of doing it, we never know, right? And if it is not, then you have to wait for the dev team from that particular tool to help you implement it. So, but if you are on a test automation asset that is built from scratch, it's a framework which you are building, you can always have that liability to extend it as much as you want, because you have that freedom to do the changes. But in a paid tool, you won't have it. So it's never a bad option, but it depends what the situation is. Like, I would say here we should look into the consideration of time to market requirements. Like, if it is a frequent change where you need to continuously make new scripts and test it down and then deliver your project, if this is the condition, then I would say let's go for a paid tool which have this capability of recording the sessions, running the test scripts, and giving you the results. So why not we go for a paid tool? Then you have budget. Budget is a big thing, because paid tools are expensive. I have seen, like, most of the tools that we have in our market are a lot of like they do take up a lot of expenses. So if we are good with the budgets, we can go for a paid tool. Or else, if this is not the scene and we are ready to invest time and we are ready to invest our resources and build a test automation tool, that is also a good option. But it totally depends on the current situation of the project and the current needs of the project. So before you start doing automation on your particular system, it's better that we sit, analyze the system properly, get all the checklist and list it, like what are the needs, like visual testing, I told you. Then you have performance testing, you have API testing, you have UI, you have mobile testing, you have UI testing. So what are different types of testing you need? What are the integrations there? How complex your system is? Then how what is the technology stack you are using, whether we are using because there are different tools or frameworks that supports a particular technological stack, like you will be having an upper hand if you're using that particular thing. We need to make a checklist and then compare different tools, whether how many ticks you are having on your checklist. And then I think we should go for a tool, or we should take a tool, consider a tool for automation. I have done this for different clients. We work here in Value, and we have seen that it helps us to deliver a better solution, because after implementing, it's not just implementing the numbers, it's not just implementing 100 test automation test scripts in your system. It's about how robust, how scalable, and how like how quickly or how easily your test automation tool or the suite you have built is getting the defects, how easily it is extracting from the system. If your scripts are not able to get the defects, there is no point of achieving the numbers, because at the end you will be leaking the defects to your production environment, right? So that's of no use if you have achieved the number but the assertions are not there, or you are not able to get defects from the suit you have built. So this is something which we should be considering when we are developing, that we have good assertions and good things considered before we do it, and how to scale your things when you start developing it. Because even in the paid tools, you have to work on the scalability, that it's not just recording and having multiple test scripts. You have to see how you can use the same set of test cases multiple times. So there are a lot of things which we need to understand before we start the project. I think I'll keep this till this because I'll let questions flow in if we have anything. It was a short sessions. There are a lot of things that should be covered. I feel, but we can take up the questions now, and I have my email mentioned here. Also, I'm available on the LinkedIn, so anyone can reach out to me if they want some help or they want to understand. So I'll let questions come in.
Thank you so much, Aman. That was really a lot to take in. Like, I'm not very techy myself, but definitely this pure information experience you have shared. And this, in terms of technology, like it's changing very fast. Like, how do you stay updated with the latest developments in your field of expertise?
Yeah. So see, what I have realized working on this particular industry is that everything that would be coming up would be an upgrade of what we already have. So it's very wise to deeply understand the basics of automation or any coding language or anything which is there. We need to understand the basic of that particular thing. And then if you are clear with the basic, you will be able to understand the upgrades that are happening in your industry. So it's better to keep a touch with most of the things happening here and then try out if you're using a particular tool, uh, give it a try and with a different tool. Or and the best part of doing this is keeping a close look on LinkedIn and see how people are using different tools and different aspects. And we have to be very open to accept that the tool I am using or I am expert on, there might be tools that are better than that. So I should be able to expect, like accept that, and I should be good to take that up for evaluation that whether it is, and if it is, then I should be moving to that tool. So this is something which I follow. I have always heard from different people that what they are using, and if it is better, then yes, we should try to move to different technologies.
Alrighty, thank you so much for that one. And we have one question as well from Srilata. Uh, these days, people talk about full stack QA that creates under estimation for mid level QA. What is this full stack QA? Will the future needs the full stack QA?
Okay. Okay. Yes. We call this full stack QA, and yes, it's definitely a plus point to be a full stack QA for sure. When we call it full stack QA or a estate, that is, we would say that the particular individual who is a full stack QA should have ability to work on different aspect of testings. It can be UI testing, it can be functional testing, it can be normal manual testing, it can be performance testing, non-functional testing. So a person who has ability to work on different aspect of testing can deliver what the requirement is, security testing or any particular testing. So if that is something an individual is having knowledge on, then we can call him as a full stack QA or a SDET. So future would, if you say does future needs full stack QA, I would say yes, future do needs full stack QA, but it is not something which is like a mandate thing for every QA to be having. But I think it's good to have be a full stack QA, but it's okay to be specialized on a particular testing format. So that's not a problem.
All right, that's great. So, well, thank you so much for sending your question as well. Hope the other attendees would be able to send theirs as well. If you don't feel or have generated your question right now, on the screen is the email of Aman, and you can shoot him an email or you can add him on LinkedIn. He's very responsive. Just type his full name, and yeah, you will definitely see him there right ahead. All right. Anything upcoming, Amon? Like if you have something to promote, maybe like an upcoming business or launching.
No, nothing like that. But anyone can reach out me on LinkedIn if they want help in getting any testing tool being asserted, or if they want to understand the testing needs. Uh, Definitely, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn or in the email ID.
All right, that's fantastic. So I guess that concludes today's webinar. So that was really full of knowledge, as Aman mentioned as well. There's a lot to discuss more on his topic, but maybe we can schedule that one on a different date. Definitely, as we are only limited to 1 hour for this session. So that's as mentioned earlier, we are bringing you pack full of knowledge in a shorter period of time, but also the contrary, the time is too short to learn too much from these guest speakers that we are bringing to you. So, again, we want to send our warm thanks to our speakers today, Simone and Aman, for bringing their expertise into the table, their knowledge, their expertise, and especially their time and effort, which is very valuable as well. And thank you so much for those who are watching on YouTube. And we have Asha, great session. Seven Car, wonderful session. Thanks for sharing your knowledge. And we have Arindam Sina, excellent session, insightful. So for those who are watching live, thank you so much. And for those who have missed this session, you can watch the recorded one later on. It will be uploaded on the Let Us Talk It YouTube page. So be sure to watch, and you can still put your questions there if there are any, and we can send it to our guest speakers to be addressed. All right. So again, we invite you. We have this webinar every Wednesday. So please look forward in our next live and also next discussion. You can join in our Zoom or just via YouTube watch. Next Wednesday, the same time, 12 noon to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, we hope to talk and see you there. So again, thank you so much, everyone. And this ends the today's Zipinar session. And see you again next Wednesday. Thank you so much and keep safe as always. All the best, everyone. Goodbye.